Fraunhofer diffraction at a single slit. In this diffraction, wavefronts must be plane wavefronts. Hence, the light sources should be infinite distance, or a collimating lens has to be used to get a plane wavefront. Means in this diffraction, Fraunhofer diffraction, to get this type of diffraction, definitely we required plane wavefronts. We required plane wavefronts. So we have to get plane wavefronts. We have to keep our source. We have to keep to obstacle at a distance of infinity. Then only we can get plane wavefronts like this. Hence, we have to keep the source at infinite distance, or if you are unable to keep the source at infinite distance, then we can use a lens like this. Source, lens, obstacle. Then what happens? That from the source the light rays will pass like this, and they will give you this type of rays, means plane waves that can produce like this. In the lens L can produce plane waves. Okay. Next, if you go for another point, the diffracted light has to be collected. Means diffracted light which is diffracted from the edge, from this edge which is diffracted, that will be collected on a screen. This diffraction pattern we are going to collect on a screen by using a convex lens. By using convex lens, we can get diffraction pattern. This is a lens, convex lens. We can get like this diffraction pattern. So, source, after that lens, again due to this lens what is happening? Plane waves are coming. These plane waves are falling on obstacle, then after that we are going to get diffraction pattern. To collect this diffraction pattern, we are keeping a lens. After falling on the lens, we are getting what? Diffraction pattern on the screen. Means this lens is used for collecting diffraction pattern on the screen. So if you want to see the perfect figure, here source, S, and obstacle O, screen, you have to take. The source and obstacle O should be infinite distance. Just like this source and obstacle at infinite distance. If it is not possible to keep the source at infinite distance, then we have to use a lens. Yeah. After that it will fall like this. This spherical wavefronts fall like this, and it will become parallel wavefronts, nothing but plane wavefronts. After falling on obstacle, what happens? We are going to get a diffraction pattern on the screen. This diffraction pattern, to collect that one, we are using another convex lens. This lens, convex lens, CL, convex lens, we are using to collect the diffraction pattern to the obstacle. Due to this small obstacle, what is happening? Diffraction pattern comes out now. This coming diffraction pattern is going to focus on the lens. Then we are going to get diffraction pattern on the screen. So these convex lens are used to collect the diffraction pattern on the screen. This is screen. On the screen, to collect the diffraction pattern, we require this lens. So due to this small edge, what has happened? Diffraction pattern is happening. Now in this single slit diffraction, now we are taking a source S. From the source S, a spherical wavefronts are coming. Then the spherical wavefronts, when it is falling on L1 lens, then they will become as a parallel wavefronts. These are the parallel wavefronts. 1, 2, 3 are parallel wavefronts. Naturally, the parallel wavefronts will be, you can get it like this. Source S. From this we are getting the spherical wavefronts. To make the spherical wavefronts as a parallel wavefronts, what we are doing is we are taking a lens L. When these spherical wavefronts are falling on lens, they are going to become as a parallel waves. These parallel waves can be seen as like this 1, 2, 3 are the parallel waves. These parallel waves are falling on A, B slit. It's a tiny hole or AB slit it is. On the slit, the parallel rays are falling. These parallel rays are falling on AB slit. Here AB slit size is small a. Okay. The AB slit size is or hole size is small a. When the parallel rays are falling on AB slit, they will form a bright image parallel. They will form a bright image at P0 point exactly at the same opposite side. At the opposite side P0, exactly opposite to slit at middle point, we are going to get a bright spot at P0 on the screen. So here if you want to discuss some more points here, after falling on AB, these parallel rays all after falling on AB slit, after falling on AB slit, what happens? After falling here, the parallel rays will travel like this. Some are traveling like this, some are traveling like this, and some are traveling like this. These rays are collected by a lens of L2. This L2 lens converges these parallel rays and focus on screen P0 point. Now what happens here? The slit you can divide into two parts, A to O and O to B we can divide. Okay, so when the parallel rays are falling on AB slit, somewhat a divergence of light happens, means diffraction means bending of light happens. This light, when parallel rays are falling like this, it will bend like this. Some of the light will bend like this. Bending is going to happen here in the picture. You can see, suppose it is a slit, A, B slit. If you take, when parallel rays are falling, automatically what happens? On this parallel rays we are having some points. Suppose the parallel rays are coming like this, you can see it is a slit like this. It is A point, it is B point. When these parallel rays are falling here on the slit, the point on parallel rays will act as the points on parallel rays will act as secondary sources. The parallel rays, the points 1, 2, 3 end points, reduction points. These end points are going to act as secondary sources. These end points are present in parallel ray which is incidenting on AB slit. So from the secondary source we are going to get secondary wavelets. These are what? Wavelets. These are all called what? Wavelets. All are called what, sir? Wavelets. So these wavelets, after falling on these wavelets, form you a parallel ray like this. These wavelets This wavelets is going to form a parallel rays like this, crossed parallel rays. This parallel rays. See, we can see in dot lines that wavelets creates this type of parallel rays. These parallel rays are going to form and bright or dark depends upon the position fringe will happen at this point. These dotted lines, 1, 2, 3 dot lines are there. These parallel rays, dotted lines, wavefronts will form bright or dark fringe on screen at point P1. So, at point P1, to have dark fringe, there is a condition. That condition we are going to discuss now. Once again I am repeating this. Dotted lines, parallel rays which are diffracted by the slit. By AB slit, the parallel rays are diffracted now. Bending of light happens now. These parallel rays are going to form an image on P1 point on the screen. The point may be bright or dark depends upon the superposition of these waves. If they are constructive superposition, this is a bright image. If these are destructive interference, then we are going to get destructive superposition, then we are going to get dark image. If these are what? Constructive superposition, bright image. If these three are destructive interference, here dark image is going to form. So, some condition is there. When P1 point will be bright, when P1 point will be dark, that conditions now we have to discuss now. Now we can see here AB is a slit. So from AB, a straight line waves we are going to see. These are the primary waves, primary parallel waves. So on the same AB slit, we can see some inclined angle line, that is BL. This is B and L. These are the waves 1, 2, 3. These are the waves are called secondary waves. These secondary waves are making an angle with the primary wave theta. This angle is going to done. So this angle is between primary wave and secondary wave is how much? Theta. Now here, so AB, if you think it is a primary wave, BL is a secondary wave, you can imagine. AB dotted line wave is a primary wave and BL is there, no? This BL line. This is secondary wave. This from A to B is taken as a primary wave. The angle between primary wave AB and BL is taken as how much? Theta angle. Same like this here. So a path difference is happening from A to P0 and O to P0 and B to P0. The distance travelled by the primary waves and A to P1 and O to P1 and B to P1, these are called secondary wave travelled distance. So secondary waves are travelling AL extra distance. Secondary waves are travelling AL extra distance when we take primary waves 1, 2, 3. These three are primary waves, straight lines. This 1, 2, 3 waves are straight line waves. These are primary waves. It's travelling less distance than dotted lines secondary waves. How much the secondary waves are travelling extra distance? The dotted lines is AL extra distance the secondary waves are travelling. So this extra distance travelled by the dotted lined secondary waves is called path difference. It's called path difference. that path difference now we have to calculate here. So it is AB slit. This AL is the extra distance travelled by the secondary waves. Like this. Secondary waves are travelled extra distance than primary wave. That is how much AL. This path difference is called delta is equal to AL. From the triangle, if you see the triangle is formed at the slit, ABL triangle is formed. From the triangle, if you take sin theta, this theta opposite side is AL. The angle between AL and BL is 90 degrees. This perpendicular triangle. So hence our theta opposite side is AL. That is sin theta is equal to AL by AB. AB is the adjacent side of the triangle. So AB is equals to already we know AB is equal to A. From this figure you can already see that AB is equal to how much? A. The same thing, AB is equal to how much? A. So next, AL is already set. What I said? Path difference delta is equal to AL. This path difference is called AL. So AB is equal to A, AL is equal to delta. So if you substitute these values in the above equation, AL is equal to delta value we have substituted, AB is equal to A value we have substituted here. Then sin theta is equal to delta by A. Then if you want to know calculate path difference, delta is equal to A sin theta. Why? Because cross multiplication. This cross multiplication we are doing. So delta is equal to A sin theta we are getting here. Next, AL is called delta is called what? Path difference between secondary waves and originating waves from AB. These are the secondary waves, dotted lines. Originating waves are this one. These are the originating waves. Between these two, with this 1, 2, 3, this 1, 2, 3, these are the primary waves, these are the secondary waves. So that path difference is called AL is equal to delta. Theta is what? Angle of diffraction. See, actually the waves should travel, the waves are traveling, straight line waves are traveling, primary waves are traveling like this, but secondary waves are like this, they are traveling. So some bending is present or not. So theta bending is there. From primary wave to secondary waves, what is happening? Theta angle bending is there. This is called diffraction angle. A is equal to AB is slit width. This AB is that is called slit width. That you can see here. AB is called slit width. Now, if you want to discuss here, this P1 point where it is going to be dark, that condition I am saying now. The case 1 I am writing, I am saying case 1. The case 1 is P1 point is going to become as a dark. On the screen, dark fringe happening at P1 point. That condition I am explaining. So here we can see a triangle ABL. So AB is a slit width A and BL is a perpendicular drawn to the secondary source, dotted lines. Now from this triangle you can see path difference is AL, already said. Now this AB slit is half divided, A to O and O to B. That we can see in another figure. I am going to show you. Now here see A to O and capital A to O and O to B. This slit divided into two equal parts. Now here this AL path difference, here AL is a path difference, is called delta is equal to AL. The condition for delta is equal to A sin theta already we got here. this equation sin theta is equal to delta A by delta by A. Delta is equal to A sin theta already we got. From this equation we have written here delta is equal to A sin theta. Now here we are going to get at P1 point. At P1 point the fringe will be to be dark. The condition is AL should be equals to lambda is equal to delta. Means the path difference delta value should be what? Lambda. Then only the P1 point appears to be dark. So delta is equal to lambda, P1 point will be dark. Why it is happening so? Why lambda only we have to take path difference to appears to be P1 dark? The condition is the slit AB divided into two equal parts, A to O, O to B. That is A to O, O to B. A to O is A by 2. See, A to O is A by 2. Here I can write A by 2. O to B is A by 2. That I am writing here. A2 is A by 2. O to B is A by 2. Slit and slit. This AO slit means off slit wave. This OB off slit waves are superimposing and destructive interference happening. AO off slit, OB off slit, waves are superimposing and destructive interference happening. Hence, P1 point on the screen appears to be dark. This screen is going to appear to be dark. Means these off slit waves are forming destructive interference with the AO off slit waves. This AO off slit waves are forming destructive interference with the OB off slit waves. Hence, total intensity diminishes. This is having one way of intensity. It's having another way of intensity. These are two opposite wave traveling. Nothing but destructive interference. This AO is forming a destructive interference with the OB waves. So we are getting at P1 point dark. That is why I am saying if A sin theta is equal to delta is equal to n lambda for dark fringe at a point P1. At a point P1, if you want to dark fringe, then what is condition? A sin theta is equal to delta is equal to what? N lambda. Then only at P1 point is going to be dark. We can see here. So just we have taken lambda. Delta is equal to n lambda. Whatever it is, 1 lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, 4 lambda. First 1 lambda only we have taken. Delta is equal to how much taken? Delta is equal to 1 lambda. For I have proved. Next we can prove like this also. What? 2 lambda, 3 lambda, 4 lambda, and so on. You can write whatever you take. For delta is equal to what? N lambda. We are getting at P1 point dark fringe. Here we get what's that? Dark fringe. In Fraunhofer diffraction at point P1, if you want to get, so in Fraunhofer diffraction at P1 point, if you want to get bright fringe, means if this point, if it is bright fringe, how the bright fringe is happening at P1 point? Means if the P1 point is at bright fringe is present, how it is forming, that we are going to discuss now. For this one, we had a path difference of AL, which is already said as a delta. Delta is equal to AL. So AL is an odd multiple of lambda by 2. Means the path difference at P1 point will be, the path difference will be equals to what? Odd multiples of lambda by 2. At that time only at P1 point we are going to get bright fringe. At P1 point we are getting bright fringe only at the case of path difference should be odd multiple of lambda by 2. Why? Because here we are going to divide the slit into 3 parts. AB part is, you can carefully observe AB part. AB part is a total slit AB. Total length of the slit is A. Total length of the slit is how much? A. So this A slit, A width of the slit is divided into A by 3 from here to here. Again A by 3 from here to here. Again from here to here, how much? A by 3. Like this we have done how many parts? 1, 2, 3 parts we have done. But here first part and second part, these 2 parts oppositely superimposes and destructive interference pattern is going to happen. So by these 2 parts, by this slit first part and slit second parts are providing a wave, they will superimpose and forms you zero intensity at P point, at P1 point. But the third part which is there, A by 3, this part of the wave will superimpose with each other and forms you constructive interference. This part is going to provide you superposition. Superposition it is going to be. So this part is providing you what? Constructive superposition. Hence at P1 point will be, the P1 point will be bright. So this P1 point is going to be bright because of the slit is divided into 3 parts like this. 1, 2, 3. First 2 parts are getting cancelled their intensities, means their waves are superimposing and forming destructive interference pattern at P point, and its intensity will be by the 2 parts of the slit is 0. But third part of the slit is providing a waves, light waves. Those light waves are going to superimpose and form you constructive interference. That is why this constructive interference of third part is providing you light intensity at P1 point. Now we are going to discuss about the path difference. The path difference already I said, odd multiples of lambda by 2 is equal to AL. Then only we are going to get P1 point will be bright. P1 point will be bright. P1 point will be bright. Okay. When path difference is odd multiple of lambda by 2. Odd multiple means 2n plus 1. If we substitute 0, lambda by 2. Lambda by 2 is also odd multiple. If we substitute n is equal to 1, what you are getting? Lambda is equal to, n is equal to 1, lambda is equal to 2 plus 1, lambda by 2 means 3 lambda by 2. If you substitute n is equal to 0, then path difference delta is equal to what? 2 to ja 4 plus 1. How much? 5. So 4 plus 1 lambda by 2, 5 lambda by 2. That's why you can write up to n values. So the path difference is going to be like this. That explanation what we had done in the previous case, the same explanation is present. The total entire slit AB is divided into 3 parts. So in this case the slit is divided as 3 parts. The slit AB is equals to what? A means from A to B. The total width of the slit is how much? A. That I said here. This A is divided into how many parts? 1, 2, 3. So you see A by 3, A by 3 and A by 3. Over. Next, first A by the third part and second A by third part, parts of slit waves result destructive interference. First A by 3 part and second A by 3 part are forming, are providing you destructive interference. Hence, resultant intensity at P1 point is 0 due to these 2 parts. But due to third part of A by 3, this third part of A by 3, slit causes the bright fringe at P1 point. Because of the third part of the slit is providing you constructive interference. This diffraction pattern intensity graph we are going to discuss now. Central point will be high intensity. Already I said central is bright already. So many times I said P0. In the previous case I said P0. P0 I will show you here. This P0. This P0 is called central one. That is called very high intensity bright fringe. It is central bright. It is called. Next one, dark. This middle gap is dark. So you can see the dark here. Next again bright. Means in this figure you can see P1 point bright. Next to dark, next to bright, next to dark, next to bright, like so on. The same pattern is going to be present top also. So like this, either both sides, top and bottom, central will be highly bright, high intensity, very bright light is present at central point. Next to dark, dark means not totally zero, somewhat less intensity. Now come to here, high intensity. Again dark, again high intensity, again dark. See, as you go this side or as you go this side, the intensity is going to decrease from order to order. First 0 order, first order, second order, third order. See, 0 order is very highest high intensity. See, these two first orders, this is first order, this is also first order. Means both sides of 0 order we have. These are the orders. These two orders are called what? First order. So these two first orders are less intensity than 0 order. Now come to second order. This one is second order. This side is also, this one is a second order. These two second orders are less intensity than two first orders. Now come to third order. One. This is the two third orders are less intensity than two second orders. Like this, as you move any side, the diffraction pattern, left or right, top or bottom, the intensity of bright fringe gradually decreases. So now we are going to calculation of width of central maxima. Calculation of width of central maxima means the central bright circle width we have to find. In the diffraction pattern, normally the diffraction pattern will be like this. 0 order, first order. So this central order width we have to calculate. The topic we are discussing now. We are calculation of width of central maxima. This is a central maxima. Calculation of width of central maxima. This is a central maxima. The bright appears in the place, no? Plus type of area is there. This is a central maxima. This expands from center to top up to dark, first dark. Again center to first dark, bottom side. From here to here. From here to here. This is total width of what? Central maxima. From center to here, x, top x. From center to bottom, x. So this is a central maxima. This is see the point where I kept my pen nib. There, starting point of first dark fringe. This point where dark fringe starts. First dark fringe starts. So, when we have to calculate the central maxima width, then we have to take condition of starting point of first dark. To calculate this total width central maxima, we have to calculate we have to take the condition of first dark fringe. That is why I am taking the condition of single slit dark fringe condition as we discussed. Already we discussed that, already we got single slit diffraction dark fringe condition A sin theta is equal to n lambda. Already we proved it. Already we got it. The previous case you can check it once if you want. If it is first dark fringe n is equal to 1. If it is first dark fringe n is equal to 1, we have to take, means this is a first dark fringe, that is why first dark fringe means n is equal to 1 we have to take. Then what happens when in the place of n we have to substitute this one value here. Then a sin theta is equal to n means what? 1, that is why 1 into lambda as it is we have written here. We are taking a condition, that is if theta is very small, then sin theta can be written as a theta, means sin is going to be neglected for small values of theta. That's why a theta is equals to lambda as it is we are writing. Now theta is equals to what? Lambda by a, means this a value we are sending as a denominator of lambda. So theta is equal to lambda by a. This is equation number 1. For clarity I am writing once again, theta is equals to lambda by a. This is diffraction pattern intensity variation. Central maximum is highest intensity. First bright, both sides of central maxima is having less intensity compared to central maxima. Now second order maxima is having less intensity when we compare to first order maximas. Similarly, third order maxima is having less intensity compared to second order maxima and second order maxima. This you can clearly understand. Here, from the center of lens to screen we are taking D, okay, if not F, depends upon the lens we used and source we kept. So if the source is at infinity distance, the lens should be F. The lens should kept from the screen at a distance of F. If source is not at a far distance from the slit, then we have to take slit here at the point of lens and screen here. Then we have to write D. When we have to take F, when the source is taken as an infinity distance, then we have to take F from slit to, from lens center to screen. Means the lens should be kept at a focal point of, the screen should be kept at a focal point of this lens. When the screen is the source is at an infinity distance. Consider, try carefully, listen to me. If the screen is at infinity distance, then this lens focal point, at that point we have to keep the screen. If source is less distance to the slit, then we have to take here, instead of lens we have to take a slit. Then slit to screen we have to take distance d. So almost, instead of saying all these confusions discussion, I am taking f is equal to z. F is equal to d, means from the center of lens to screen distance is d. For clarification, for easiness, no problem, even I can take like this also for convenience. So I am taking now lens center, I am taking here the figure, you can see carefully. Lens center L, the screen S we have taken. From the center of lens to center of the screen, the distance f is equal to d. Already I have shown here L to screen, that we can see f is equal to d. Now here from P naught means central maxima center. Central maxima center is P naught. From central maxima center to top first dark starting point, the distance is how much? X. Means within this range total central maxima exists. If you go down from central maxima center to first dark starting point, this total area is called bright central maxima. Bright central maxima. So that is why half bright fringe width. This is called what? From here to here, half bright fringe width or half central maxima fringe width. And again P naught to D dash, X is there. This X is also called half central maxima bright fringe width, you can say. So total central maxima means this X plus this X is called total central maxima. Now for convenience, for calculation, I am taking half central maxima only, means P naught to D we are taking. That's why I am taking a triangle of L P naught to D. L P naught D. This triangle I am taking. Here angle is theta. Then sin theta is equals to opposite side. How much it is? X by sin theta is equal to x by under root of x square plus d square. Sin theta, if you apply to this top triangle, then sin theta means opposite side x. So x by hypotenuse side. What is that? Under root of x square plus d square. X square plus d square. So sin theta is equal to x by under root of x square plus d square. If one condition, if you take, normally its value is correct, x value is very less compared to d value. So this x value is very small. We are unable to calculate small value. This x value is very less compared to d value. That is why when in this root x square is going to be neglected, then what happens? D square is present, root d square. When d square is present and root, what happens? Root gets cancelled, only d remains. So what you got? The same equation, x as it is, but here what is cancelled, what is neglected? X square is neglected. So under root of d square, under root of d square means d, that we got it. Again another condition, if you take theta is very small, then x is equal to what? Sin theta can be written as a theta x by d, as it is we have written here. Okay, this is when theta is very small, sin theta can be written as a theta x d d. But already we have calculated. What we have calculated? Theta is equal to lambda by a. The previous case in this topic we have calculated what? theta is equal to lambda by equation number 1. So the same equation number 1 we have used here. But just to know what you got, theta is equal to x by d. So theta is equal to x by d, equation number 2, and theta is equal to lambda by a. If you make it equal, in the place of theta, if you substitute this one, x by d is equal to lambda by a. Then x is equal to this d value, you have to send this side. X is equal to what? Lambda d by a. Carefully observe that theta is equal to how much you got? X by d. Already theta value, how much we got? Lambda by a. Both make it equal. We have made it equal. Take cross multiplication. When you take cross multiplication, x is equal to how much? Lambda d by a. If d value is focal length, means if source is far away, then d is equal to f. Then instead of writing d, lambda f by a, I can write. A is slit width. Already said A is slit width. A is slit width. Now we are going for second slide, the same topic. Full bright fringe width. Full bright fringe width means x plus x, so this 2x, that is why x plus x is equal to lambda d by a. Just we have calculated lambda d by a, lambda d by a. Other x plus x means half x, next x, lambda d by a. Total is how much? 2x is equal to 2 lambda d by a. If d is equal to f, 2x is equal to what? 2 lambda f by a. Means instead of d we are writing f, focal length, focal point of lens, focal length of lens. X is equal to lambda d by a, or x is equal to lambda f by a. This already got half of bright fringe width. Now we are taking from this above two equations. We can write fringe width, bright fringe width means this bright fringe width depends upon wavelength of light. That is why if you take source of light as red color, fringe width will be, x will be more. Why? Because lambda is more, x also will more. Red light lambda will be more, means red light wavelength will be more, lambda will be more, hence its fringe width also will be more. Now first condition is over from the above equation, from this equation. Next, fringe width also depends upon focal point or d, slit to screen distance. So from this equation, see, x is directly proportional to d, that we are writing here. Okay, from the equation. Means if focal length is increasing, screen to lens or screen to slit distance is increased, automatically x value, width of the bright fringe increases, half width of the bright fringe increases. Fringe width also inversely proportional to a, means you can see that lambda d by a means inversely proportional, x and a is inversely proportional. Means what? A is a slit width. Means if you take here a, b, this is called slit width. This small hole width or slit width is increased, a is increased. What happens? Slit width bright fringe width decreases. If a decreases, this slit width decreases. What happens? Bright fringe width increases. Bright fringe width x is inversely proportional to slit width. This slit width. If slit width is more, bright fringe width is less. If slit width is less, bright fringe width X is more. It is less, it more. It is slit width is more, bright fringe width is less. So this is a bright fringe width. This is a slit width here. So if slit width increases, bright fringe width decreases. If slit width decreases, bright fringe width increases. Opposite. It decreases, it increases. It increases, it decreases. So slit width, once again I am saying, slit width increases, bright fringe width decreases. Slit width decreases, bright fringe width increases.